We indicated in my opening statement today that we were reintroducing the Unleashing AI Innovation in Financial Services Act with Senator Heinrich, Kim Tillis, and House Financial Services Chairman French Hill. The idea behind this was to create literally a laboratory at the federal level, or a sandbox, as we called it, where regulators and those entities that were regulated by specific entities such as the SEC would have the opportunity to experiment using AI, but in a regulated way, and a way in which you could advance ideas and test it without creating an adverse liability for yourself, or while at the same time allowing the regulators to learn the appropriate way to regulate using new tools. I'm just curious, we talk a lot about how at the state level, the states are the laboratories from which the federal entities learn. But so much of this has to do with interstate commerce, and on a national basis, we need a consistency, if at all possible. Can we talk just a little bit about your thoughts about whether or not this is the appropriate path, and whether or not finding a way to establish this laboratory could work from industry to industry, using, once again, at the federal level, what are the experts that we find within NIST to assist us in putting this together? Mr. Cohen, I'm going to begin with you, but I'm going to give all of you an opportunity to think about this. And I know with the insurance and so forth, we love the idea. I'm still supporting state-supported regulatory. I don't want to go to the national for that. But I think to have a tool available at the national level to help the states would also be perhaps beneficial through the National Association of Insurance Commissioners and so forth. So, but Mr. Cohen, could you just briefly give us your thoughts about that concept?
Yeah, so we would be supportive of it, Chairman Rounds, and we think it's probably a critical element of the private-public partnership that we've been talking about here today. And there are three, if you will, guiding principles that we should have with the sandbox, and we should understand the following. What is the design? What is the goal? What are you designing for? Two, it should be temporary. You shouldn't run it as a pilot that then becomes a production-level sandbox. And three, it should be very controlled and well understood. And if we do that, then we can create a sandbox that will achieve its purpose, because otherwise we're going to run the risk, and we've seen this before, of folks using it to circumvent rules. So if I want to introduce a new product and I want to get it through somehow, I'm going to look at that sandbox and say, is this a way for me to potentially circumvent the process that I would need to go through to get a product approved into market? We have to be careful that we do not allow for that. So the design, the control, and making sure that it's temporary is really, really important as we develop these sandboxes that we are supportive of.
Thank you. Mr. Cox.
So I think I'm not going to comment necessarily on the sandbox per se, but I think the notion of having spaces where we can bring together financial institutions from all parts of the United States together with regulators is incredibly important, and also to have the ability to field and test new solutions. That is a critical aspect of any deployment of technology, especially a new technology. One of the things that we do with our IBM Cloud business is we bring together financial institutions who are customers together with regulators, and we have actually deployed new technologies experimentally amongst them, where they come together, try things out, bring their experience. We've brought in MIT, academic institutions and that. I think those spaces are incredibly important for exploring first before you do something at larger scale.
Thank you. Mr. Klinich?
So Texas just passed a Artificial Intelligence Act that goes into effect January 1st, 2026, and it takes into account some of the issues that you've raised, and some of them are hopefully in your new bill that we're anxious to review, and those include some thresholds that if you meet in the sandbox of Texas in the safe environment to evaluate the artificial intelligence threats, have you already satisfied the NIST AI framework standards? Have you already satisfied this? And it gives a presumption under the Texas law. So I'd encourage the federal law to, if it adopts the same kind of affirmative safety principles of the state one, it can be a model for all states to follow and get a much more consistent review of our artificial intelligence threats.
Very good.